the router. I don't have my safety glasses on, but I'm just simply going to have a discussion, so I'm not planning on any operation, so that's the reason. But anytime you use the router, we want to make sure we have our safety glasses. Okay, the router is designed to put a decorative edge on your outside edge of your wood. These router bits come in different sizes, and they also come in different shapes, a lot of different shapes. Those router bits are stored right here, underneath this router table right here, and in this tape or in this box, we have all kinds of router bits also. Okay. I'm going to show you kind of how to change a router bit on what we need to do, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. We've got 2 wrenches in this set right here. I'll take the smaller of the 2, and it goes on the spindle. I'll take the larger of the 2 and go on a locking nut. I turn that thing counterclockwise, and it will come loose. Once it is loose, I will take this router bit out, slide the new one inside the collet, and just simply tighten it back up. Now, these things can move, so you just simply have to make sure it is nice and snug. Make sure the wrenches get back into the box so that the next guy does not have to look for it. Now, our router table has a router just like this mounted up underneath it. So it's basically a router on a table that's upside down. And sometimes when it's in that configuration, it's called a shaper. Okay, but it's nothing more but the second router. Okay, so changing that bit out is a little bit more difficult, but it's simply the same way. Now, running the router, you want to move in a direction that is opposite the cutter. So you want to move against the cutter. So when I'm routing here, if I'm routing something on the outside, a piece of wood on the outside, I want to go in a counterclockwise direction. And what that will do, it will offer a smooth cutting operation. If I were to go in the same direction that the cutter is rotating, it's going to be really jagged and pull. It's going to zip, 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 zip. So if I go in counterclockwise direction against the direction of the cutter itself, it cuts really smoothly. Now you got to think about that for a second. If I have a piece of wood and I've got an oval cut on the inside, to move against the cutting edge, I will go in a clockwise position. So if I'm on the inside, it's clockwise. If I'm on the outside, it's counterclockwise. All right? I can discuss that a little bit more with you as you get used to or using the router. Other things about the router, make sure you're grabbing it with 2 hands. You can grab it in a lot of different configurations, okay? But what I cannot do is just hold my wood and router with the other hand. Okay, so just make sure your work is nice and firm on the table, clamp down, and I can grab it in a lot of different directions. When I'm putting it down, I've finished my router operation. I'll hit the switch, and as it comes to a stop, I will turn that bit away from me and set it down. Okay, so don't turn the bit off and go, "I wonder how that looks." No, that's not right. Turn it off and turn the bit away from you. I would hold on to it until it comes to a complete stop. Okay. The router bits are normally a carbide tip, and so they last a long time. But just simply have to make sure that it is free of all the defects. Okay. Anything else about a router? Am I okay on time?
You're at 4 minutes.
All right, I'm good. What I'm going to do in this other video here is talk a little bit about reciprocating saws in which the blade goes back and forth. I've got 2 saws, a Sawzall, referred to as a Sawzall. That's a brand name, Sawzall, but we refer to it as a Sawzall. And we also have a jigsaw. Okay. On both, you have a shoe. Here you have a shoe. When I'm cutting, I want to make sure that shoe is tied against the work. In this case, not necessarily here, but in this case, I can rotate this the shoe into a bevel, so I can cut at an angle. Okay, I can cut circles. It's designed to use it freehand. but I can't cut tight radiuses tighter than what my blade allows, otherwise I'll pinch the blade. To put this blade in, I've got a locking lever right here, and I can put this blade in a lot of configurations. Here, 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 a lot of different configurations that blade goes in, okay? So put it in what works for your operation the best. Interesting enough, these blades here are designed to cut metal also. This is a pretty coarse blade, but it's still designed to cut metal. And so I might, if I have to, I could cut through nails if I happen to do demolition. This blade is not designed for that. It's only designed for wood, okay? So understand that. In both cases, the saw is cutting the wood on the upstroke. So if I've got a nice piece of wood, I want to preserve the, one side or the other, the good side should be down or away from the saw. Otherwise, it's going to fray as it cuts. Okay. Anyway, a lot of different configurations on blades. Just simply knowing where the blade is at, and also knowing that as I use this blade, it's going to get hot, or it would certainly be very warm. So as I remove it, I want to be aware that it's also pretty hot. These blades here, or this saw here, uses a battery. There's two types of batteries, a lithium battery and the regular battery. The lithium is a little bit lighter, and people seem to like that a little bit better. Okay. Any other safety issues I'm missing that you guys can think of?
Clothing.
What's that?
Anything about clothing?
Clothing, again, no loose clothing. Not wearing, I wouldn't wear gloves. Making sure your hair, if you have long hair, that it's tied up and out of the way. Okay. Cutting, if you're cutting into metal containers, obviously you don't want to cut into a closed container or even a gasoline container, simply because any type of spark, you're going to have some problems. All right, I think that's it. How much time did I use?